Hey, what's good YouTube? Welcome back to the channel here. In today's video, what I have for you guys is going to be the Atomic Camo guide, my tips and tricks on how to unlock Atomic Camo faster. You guys kind of knew that Atomic Camo was bugged for the longest. There's some guns you couldn't get in gold, and basically they fixed that for like the last month, and like since then I've unlocked Atomic Camo like over 3 times. So I thought I'd gather like all my tips, put in a video to help you guys unlock Atomic Camo faster. So like I said, we're going to be covering stuff like leveling up weapons, what to start with, tips and tricks like in-game tips, wallbang spot, long shot spots, all that good stuff. Remember, we're going to be covering a lot of stuff. So there's gonna be chapters at the bottom of the video you guys can skip to, and if you're looking to something specific, you guys can skip to that. If not, like I said, I'm gonna be going through everything I did to unlock Atomic Camo faster. If you guys do enjoy the video at any point, y'all be sure to drop a like. If you guys are brand new on the channel and want to see more content like this, y'all be sure to subscribe. And aside from that, man, let's get into it. Alright, so the way I broke down this video is that I basically broke it down in like 4 ways. There's gonna be a lot more than 10 tips in this video, I broke it down in like 4 big chapters. It's gonna be leveling up weapons, what to start with. I got a whole section on long shots because long shot is a struggle this year, and we also have specific challenges, stuff like hipfire kills without dying, like tips and tricks like what attachments to use, and also like a wall bank spots. All that good stuff we're going to be covering. Some of the tips and tricks in today's video are from a guide from a friend of mine. His name is 16 the Great. I'm going to be linking his guide in the description. It's a written guide over at Reddit, and it's really in depth. In today's video, we kind of cover the basics and we go a little bit in depth. He has really in depth every single class setup you need to use for like the specific attachments. If the gun asks you to get like 100 long shots with these specific attachments, he tells you the best class up to run with that, maps, in-game tricks, really in depth. So if you feel like today's video is not enough, he has a guide, like I said, really in depth. He's going crazy, so show some love. It's in the description. All right, so like I said, the first thing we're gonna be covering is weapon levels. Like I said, it's probably one of the hardest things to do in this game is to get your gun to max out level 70. There's a couple of things you can do to actually get it faster, and stuff you need to do while leveling up your weapons to make it a little bit easier for you to unlock Atomic. One of the first things, one of the biggest things is that ship house. You're gonna hear this thing a lot today. Ship house is gonna be your best friend to level up weapons. Or hardcore, that's really up to you guys what you prefer. At the end of the day, just play what you're better at to get as many levels as you can, as much XP as you can. Ship house is gonna be like your best friend for not only XP and kills. Yes, it's gonna level up faster. I know it can get chaotic and stuff like that, but you're also gonna get a lot of other challenges done. Stuff as like multi kills, close range kills, hip fire kills. By playing small maps like Shipment and Death House, you're gonna get a lot of those done automatically by simply playing with the weapon and not worrying about those challenges. So like I said, Ship House is your best friend if the playlist is out. Another tip I can give you guys is double weapon XP weekends. I know this is straightforward. You do want to grind those weekends, but something you want to do within those weekends is that you want to focus on leveling up your weapons. Don't worry about camos. Don't worry about doing your long shots, your specific attachment camos, head fire kills, all that good stuff. Don't worry about that. Simply level up the weapons. Double XP is so crucial this year to get Atomic faster. Focus on leveling up all your weapons. Personally, what I do is I get all my guns to like level 60, 65, and then I move on to the next weapon. I just get my levels done. Don't worry about the camos or double weapon XP weekends, and I move on. All right, so another great tip I want to give you guys is the operators, man. You do want to switch operators while leveling up your weapons. Every operator got a favorite weapon, and basically if I'm playing with like the operator Daniel on screen right now, his favorite weapon is the M1 Grand. While I'm playing with Daniel, the M1 Grand's gonna level up faster. You don't need to be playing with the M1 Grand to actually level it up. Simply playing with the operator is gonna level up the weapon a little bit more. So remember to switch operators to actually level up their favorite weapons. It's gonna help you a little bit, get you a little bit more levels while you're leveling up weapons. Alright, so another tip I want to give you guys is to level up your weapons as fast as possible and not to worry about the small challenges. What I mean by that is that a lot of weapons are going to ask you to get headshots, multi-kills, kills without dying, close range kills, hip fire kills. A lot of those challenges are going to come back on most of the weapons. So you don't want to focus on doing that while leveling up your weapons. Like I said, just go crazy with the weapon, get as many kills as you can. If you guys go for like hip fire kills and headshots, you are going to end up getting a lot less kills. Most of the time, 90% of the time, just by simply playing with the weapons, you're going to get those attachments done. Plus, most of these weapons, the specific attachments, camos, are going to ask you to do some of these challenges. So I'll give you guys an example. The MP40 asks you to get 100 headshots with these specific attachments. So if as soon as you unlock headshots, you start doing headshots, you still got to do 100 more here. So like I said, just level up the weapon to like level 60, 65. Get the 3 specific attachment camos done. The one you unlock at level 60, 65, and 70. And then after that, once you're done those, you can kind of check where you're missing. Like I said, most of the time they are going to get done automatically. They're going to be like 10 out of 10. You're maybe going to be missing like a couple hip fire kills, maybe like a couple like headshots, really depending on the camos of the weapon and what weapon you're using. And for another tip, like I said, to ignore long shot, and like my last tip, long shots a little bit different because you don't want to do long shots on most of the weapons while you're leveling up the weapon, because for specific attachment camos, they're going to ask you to play, they're going to ask you to get 100 long shots with 3 specific attachments. So if at level 30 you start doing your long shots, you get 100 long shots, and then at level 60 you gotta get 100 more long shots, you're just doubling your work. So don't do that. Wait until you unlock the 100 long shots challenges and then do your long shots. So I'm gonna be putting a screenshot on screen right now. These are the weapons that don't include this tip. All these weapons on screen like that, like the STG, ITRBs, shotguns, pistol, all these weapons do not have a specific camo challenges for long shots. So as soon as you hit level 30, start doing your long shot for these weapons, and only for these weapons. Like I said, all the other weapons, wait until you unlock the specific attachment camos at like level 60, 65, or 70. But for these weapons on screen right now, like shotguns, STG, as soon as you hit level 30, start doing your long shots so you can level up the weapons while doing long shots. All right, so one of the biggest tips I can give you guys is to keep a launcher as a secondary while you're leveling up weapons. They're gonna save so much time. Personally, I don't even do it myself, and I feel like I'm slacking. Shame on me for not doing it. You want to keep a launcher in your backpack while you're leveling up weapons. Play with the engineer perk while you're leveling up weapons, so you can see the equipments, the fill upgrades, the score sheets that are getting called on you, so you can destroy them with your launcher. If you keep it at the end, it's gonna be such a struggle, and it's gonna be so annoying to just do that, hop in games, wait for people to drop streaks and field upgrades. Like I said, while you're leveling up your weapons, keep that secondary in your backpack. As for the second part of the video, it's a little bit gonna be like what to start with, I call, because I feel like this is one of the most popular questions for some reason. A lot of people don't know what to start with, and they ask me like, oh, what do you start with? What's the best thing to start with? At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Personally, what I do is I play with like the fun guns, and then I play with a hard gun, and then I go back to the fun guns. What I mean by that is, like, let's say if I'm starting from scratch, right? I'm gonna do my ARs first, then I'm gonna do like marksman rifles, which are pretty hard to get, and I'm gonna do like SMGs, and then I'm gonna do sniper rifles. So I kind of balance between them, so it makes it a little bit like less hard if I just do like in a row, like I do like ARs, SMGs, shotguns, and LMGs, and then at the end of the day I'm stuck with like marksman rifle, snipers, melee, and pistols. It's gonna be a struggle, it's gonna get boring, so I tend to switch between them. At the end of the day, it doesn't change anything. I think it's more of like a mental thing. I still want to include this in this video. And also another thing you want to keep in mind is that DLC weapons, you don't need to do them for atomic camo. You can do them, and if you choose to do them, you don't need to do one of like the default weapons that come with the game. So I'll give you guys an example, right? ARs, there's 7 default weapons in the game. The Cooper Carbine and the KGM40 are basically a DLC weapon. So at the end of the day, you only need to do 7 ARs to get diamond ARs. So you can do like the KGM40, the Cooper, the Volk, the NZ, the AS44, the Bar, and then like not do like the STG and the Automaton. So like I said, every weapon has that. ARs, you only need to do like 7 to get a diamond camos. You don't need to do all 9 of them to get atomic or even diamond camos. All right, so now we're going into the long shot section of the video. Probably one of the most annoying things to do this year. I think in total you gotta do like 3,000 long shots in the whole game combined. So it is going to be hard, it is going to be a struggle, but there's a lot of things you guys can do to actually make this a little bit easier and to get these long shots done as fast as possible. As you guys can see on screen, I am on Dust House right now. I know a lot of people disagree on this tip, but I did atomic like 3 times, and I promise you, Dust House Hardcore is the best map for doing long shots. It can get chaotic, it can get annoying, it can destroy your stats. I agree with that, but if we're talking about efficiency here, Dust House is the best map for it. And a little bit of tips, there is other maps, there's also great maps. I am going to be linking a video of like my best long shot spots. Today's video, I'm not going to be covering like all the best spots on like every single map. I am going to be covering a video that I kind of go into like almost every maps, the good maps for like long shots. You guys can check that out. And also in the guide that I talked about in the beginning of the game, he also mentions a lot of spots, a lot of long shot spots that you guys can use. So you guys can check that out. But honestly, like I said, Dust House is going to be your best friends for long shot. I personally did it so many times, and it's straight to this hall, right standing in the middle. Like I said, it does get chaotic, it does get annoying. There's a lot of nades being thrown, a lot of shoots getting called in. But at the end of the day, it's still the most efficient way. And a couple of things you guys can do to make it easier to get some long shots on this house is to, one, you want to play with piercing vision. People are gonna throw like thermites, smoke grenades, and you're gonna be able to see people through that while you're doing your long shot. So if I shoot some people, piercing vision is gonna pop up. The enemies kind of outline whether if there's like a smoke or a thermite, so it's a little bit easier to hit your shots. Definitely also want to play with fortified to help you with those nades. I also play as a field upgrade. I play with the deployable cover, so I could put the deployable cover here. I can kind of sit behind it. I can even mount on it and get my long shots done. Another tip I can give you guys is for long shots is the FOV. As you guys can see on screen right now, I am currently playing at 80 FOV. It's gonna help me see from like further ranges. If I play like 120, I'm barely gonna see anything for like long range, right? Compared to like 80. So lower your FOV is gonna make it easier. This is not only for Death House, any map is gonna help you get a little bit more long shots. Last tip I'm gonna give you guys for long shot is the actual attachments. We covered a little bit like the perks, the field upgrade, the maps that you want to cover to get as many long shots as you can, but now I'm going to cover a little bit of attachments. What I mean by that is, like, let's say we're doing specific attachments on our weapon. For the MP40, it asks us to play with the Cron stick barrel, the 32 round mag, and the VDD padded stock, so we're going to be putting that on our class setup. For the actual challenges, I need to get 100 long shots with at least three of these attachments, and the rest of the class. This applies for any gun. I'm covering like the MP40 right now to give you guys an example, but this applies on every single gun. You want to focus the rest of the attachments on either damage range, recoil control. Stuff like sprint to fire speed and ADS speed does not matter, since you're basically sitting in the back of the map and pre-aiming 99% of the time. You want to focus everything on recoil control and damage range. So let's say for the muzzle, we're going to be playing with the F8 stabilizer for a little bit more damage range. The F8 is almost on every single weapon. Definitely want to consider that. All right, so here are the 3 attachments that I have to use to get the long shots. So this is for like every single class. It's not only for the MP40, this is just an example, but you want to focus all the other attachments on either damage range, recoil control, and accuracy. Basically, you want to focus all the other attachments on that. So starting off the muzzle, I'll play with the F8 stabilizer for a little bit more accuracy and damage range. F8 is on every single weapon, so definitely want to consider that. Underbarrel, you want to play with stuff like Carver foregrip, M19 hand stops are great options for a little bit more recoil control. Magazine, this specific gun like the MP40 asks you to play with like a magazine already, but if it didn't, some of the guns ask you to play with like a proficiency, stock, and like barrel. You do want to play with the damage mag. Some of the mags are going to be smaller by playing with the damage mag, but this is going to help you to get either like 1 or 2 shots off. If you guys are playing with like one of the other mags that like don't increase damage, you're going to end up putting like 3 to 4 shots doing lock shots, which is super annoying. So definitely consider, for the guns that you can, play with the magazine that helps with damage range, bullet velocity, and damage. Ammo type, SMGs, we're going to be playing with lengthen. The other weapon stuff are like LMGs, ARs, snipers. Lengthen is a little bit useless. Probably want to go ahead and play with like FMJ if you can, to get a little bit more bullet penetration. If not, lengthen, like I said, for LMG is a great option for more bullet velocity. Rear grip, stipple grip tape. It's on every single weapon. Definitely want to play with that for a little bit more recoil recovery, initial accuracy, and recoil. Proficiency, this really depends on the weapon. They all got a different like kind of proficiency. So steady's a great choice, perfectionist for recoil control, and brace for initial accuracy and recoil are great options. Brace probably gonna be my go-to if it is an option. Kit surplus, if you're still leveling up the weapon, is a great choice, but also full loaded also for max starting ammo. Since you're doing long shots, you're not going to be picking up weapons, you're not going to be using the ammo box since we're using a shield wall. So definitely want to consider full loaded or surplus if you're leveling up the weapon. At optic, we're going to be playing with the 48 times scope. This is on every single weapon. I think there's probably like 1 or 2 weapons that don't have this. It's such a clean sight, just a clean crosshair. It helps with recoil control, it helps with accuracy. Like the 4 to 8 times scope is like perfect on like almost map. 4 times or even 8 times if you guys are like playing absolutely big maps. And this is pretty much like the class setup you want to focus on. Like I said, depending on like what you have to play with, you're gonna have to play with like the other attachments. Focus on recoil control, focus on stuff like damage, and the rest of the attachments really doesn't matter. Stuff like ADS, sprint to fire speed doesn't matter. Keep that in mind while you're doing the long shots for the class setups. So just to cover a little bit like what we talked about on the long shots, it is one of the most annoying parts. So definitely want to consider playing Death House, play hardcore. The perks you want to play with fortify, protect you from the nades, piercing vision, so you can kind of see the outline enemies when they're throwing like smokes and thermites. You want to play with like the shield wall as a field upgrade, so you can actually get some cover and mount it while getting your long shots. Also going to help you a little bit more with recoil control if you mount it, and also FOV is a great option. You guys can lower it to actually see enemies from further. And last but not least, the class up. Want to focus everything on damage, range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. So that's pretty much it for the long shot section. Alright, so now for the next part of the video, we're going to be covering tips and tricks for the specific attachment challenges. What I mean by that is that every single weapon at level 60, 65, and 70 ask you to get specific types of kills with specific attachment. Give you guys an example, the Archibus asked me to get 100 hipfire kills with those specific attachments, those 3 attachments. So what I want to do, some of them are pretty straightforward, right? Like headshots, long shot, crouch kills, all of those are straightforward. Some of them you do want to like make the class up a little bit better. Stuff like hipfire kills after recently ADSing. All depend on like the actual challenge. You want to focus the attachments around that. What I mean by that is like, let's say we're doing like hipfire kills, right? Hipfire kills, it's asking me to play with these attachments on screen right now. So for the rest of the attachments, I want to focus on those attachments to help me with that hipfire accuracy. So stuff is like the small pistol grip for sprint to 5 speed and hipfire accuracy. Rear grip, we can put stuff like pine tar for recoil control and hipfire accuracy. Attributes doesn't have this one, but if it has gun ho, that's also a great choice. So recoil control is maybe not the thing you want to focus on while making these class setup for like hipfire accuracy, because a lot of hipfires are going to be close range. ADS speed, not a worry also. So like I said, focus the attachments on hipfire accuracy and stuff like sprint to 5 speed to actually help you get those hipfire kills as fast as possible. If you guys are just playing with like random class of it is going to take you longer. It is going to be harder. So definitely focus on that. Also, that is for hipfire accuracy, but stuff like kills after recently aiming down sight, like I mentioned earlier, like quick scope kills, you want to focus attachments on like ADS speed. So we're going to be putting stuff like the Mark Skeletal, we're going to be putting stuff like the fabric grip for ADS speed. It's going to help us a lot. Maybe focus some attachments on some recoil control a little bit, since we are going to be quick scoping. Like I said, most of them are going to be straightforward, but like stuff like hipfire kills and like kills after recently aiming down sight speed, definitely want to use these little tips. It's going to help you. Another popular challenge is the kills without taking any damage. My personal tip for this, I feel like a lot of people don't agree with this, is to play hardcore. Why I play hardcore for this is that as soon as you take damage in hardcore, 90% of the time you are going to respawn. Compared to like core, if I get naded, I'm still alive, and the kills I'm going to get while I'm still alive and I got naded won't count to kills without taking damage. So hardcore, most of the kills I'm going to get, almost every single kill I'm going to get, is going to count to kills without taking damage. If I do take damage, I respawn right away. That's why I play hardcore. Plus hardcore, if you get the hang of it, you're gonna get more kills at the end. So for that challenge, I would say personally play hardcore. It's the best option. If you're not gonna play hardcore and you want to play core, play with a stim. So if you do get shot, if you do get naded, stim, full regen, and then you can get more kills that are gonna count towards the challenge. Another challenge that's a little bit complex is wallbang kills. I think if I'm not mistaken, this is only for LMGs. It can get complicated, but learning the best spots, the good attachments, and the good perks for it is going to help you get these done like insanely fast. Honestly, if you guys play with like the piercing vision perk, that allows you, if you hit somebody through a wall, they're actually going to get outlined. I'll give you guys an example here. If I play with like the DP, if I do land a shot on that guy, the enemy got outlined right there, so I kind of see him through walls. It's going to help me get kills through walls and get the wallbang spot. As you guys can see, this is a great wallbang spot on Death's House. Probably one of the best maps for long wall banks, including shipment, obviously through the crates. That's pretty straightforward. I won't go into details about that. But there's a couple good long wall bank spots on this map that you guys can do. This wall right here is a great one. There's also this side right here. If you guys are playing like domination, this is like the C flag. So you can shoot through this wall right here, and when they're gonna respawn, you can actually shoot through that, and you're gonna see them through the wall and wall bang that. It's probably one of my favorite. It's mad scummy, don't get me wrong, but it's one of my favorites. I'm going to be putting a clip on screen right now of actually me doing it. It's probably one of the best spots to actually do your long shots. Another tip for the wallbang is that you do want to focus attachments on it's only the magazine. You can also like maybe like include like stuff like ADS speed and like recoil control to help you on this class setup. But the biggest thing is definitely the magazine. Though you do want to play with the magazines that help you with bullet penetration. I think every single LMG has a damage bag that actually help you with bullet penetration. So definitely play with that. You're gonna be lasering kids through walls. So that spot's a good spot. This head glitch a good spot right here. There's also like stuff like this tire right here. You can wallbang into that spawn back there, which is pretty good. And if you have piercing vision, you're gonna see them through that. So those are all great spots you guys can do for wallbangs. Yes, that's pretty much all my tips combined into one video. We really went into like a kind of like a little bit in depth of like all my tips. If you guys would even want to go more in depth, like I said, there's a guide on Reddit. My guy 16 made it. He a written essay basically out of every single section, weapons, every single class setup. Like I mentioned earlier, like hipfire kills, I want to play with these attachments. He has that for every single challenges for every single weapon. So definitely check that out. It's gonna help you a lot if you want to go into details. But just to summarize a little bit what we talked about, man, we split in 4 sections, like leveling up weapons, take advantage of the double weapon XP weekends, leveling up your weapons before doing the camos. That's how it's going to be your best friend. Shipment also, if the ship house place is out, definitely focus on that. You guys are good at hardcore. If you want to get used to hardcore, it's going to be better. You're going to get a lot more kills, a lot more XP. If you guys don't like core, keep it for the long shots, keep it for like the hipfire kills without taking damage. Gonna help you a lot. Operators, definitely want to switch operators. They all got his favorite weapons, gonna help you level up the weapon. So definitely keep in mind, as soon as you hit level 20 on the operator, switch it up. You do want to level up the weapons before doing the camo. So level up your weapons to like level 60, 65, or 70 before doing the small challenges like headshots, multi-kills. They're all gonna get done automatically by simply playing with the weapons. At the end, when you're done the specific attachment camos at like 60, 65, and 70, then focus on doing the small challenges. If you get like a couple headshots left, a couple hipfire kills left, then do that. Launchers, man, keep it as a secondary at all times. Always keep it in your backpack where you're leveling up weapons. The biggest thing, man. Engineer is also going to be your best friend as a perk, so you can see the equipment, build upgrade, and actually the streaks getting called in. But to start with, doesn't really matter. And like I mentioned earlier, if you guys don't need to do the DLC weapons to get atomic. I personally like to switch between the fun guns and the bad guns. So stuff like I start doing ARs, then marksmen, then SMGs, then snipers. I kind of switch between like the good guns and the bad guns to help me a little bit, make it easier for me mentally for this grind. We also covered like the whole long shot section. Dust House Hardcore is going to be your best friend. If you guys don't want to play that, I do have a long shot spots video that is pretty straightforward. Big Map Blitz also a great choice now. There's a playlist called Big Map Blitz where you can get a lot of long shots done. It could be good for snipers also, since you don't really need hardcore for that, but most of the time in Dust House Hardcore is going to be best friend. Remember to play with Fortified, Piercing Vision as perks, and the shield wall as a field upgrade to actually help you guys get long shots so you can mount it, and it's going to help you with some recoil control. Attachments for the range, stuff like accuracy, like stipple grip tape, damage range with the F8 stabilizer, carbon frigate for a little bit more recoil control, stuff like that on every single class tip is going to help you get these long shots done. And the FOV also, lower it so you're a little bit more accurate at the longer ranges, and you can actually see better at those longer ranges. And for the specific attachment camos, like I said, definitely want to focus your class up on whatever challenge you're doing. If it's hipfire, focus attachments on hipfire accuracy. If it's ADS kills, focus attachments on hipfire accuracy and recoil control, stuff like that. I showed you guys also wall bank spots, kills without taking damage, doing a hardcore, hipfire kills, also hardcore options. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like I said, really went in depth. If you guys want to see more content like this, you guys are more than welcome to subscribe. Road to 10K, man. I appreciate the support. And aside for that, man, I hope you guys have a good day. And I'm Cash, guys. Hit them, man. Peace out.